Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London. Today I'm looking at a book which has come to us from LexisNexis and in fact Family Law, part of Jordan's. This book's available as an ordinary paperback and as an e-book, and the title is The Modern Judge. It's got a subtitle, Power, Responsibility and Society's Expectations, and it's been written by a retired judge, Sir Mark Headley, with an excellent foreword by Sir James Mumby. Now this is really a book for family lawyers, and I'm delighted to be able to review it. Let's have a look at the book first of all. It's very small. It's that book there. It's a paperback. There's a very thin spine, and then there's some blurb on the back, and I've used some of the blurb for part of the review. It doesn't even run to 100 pages. There we go. You can see the size of it. There's no index or anything. That's the last page. The front of the book, there's the front page there. Then you've got some blurb there, and then it talks about the basic book. That's in fact what Mumby has to say about it. And then it's got some further information here. Then there's a preface about the book itself, and then there's some contents sections. You can see the various chapter headings there. Chapter 8, What of the Future? Now I'm not going to spoil the book by telling you what's in it, because it's actually a very short book and one that you can read very quickly. The review title we've given this book, and it's quite a long review that I've written, I've said a jurisprudential gift from the judiciary, and there's a purpose behind that, because within the subject of jurisprudence one does look at the role of the judiciary, and I think this book is one of the number that helps. What I've said is as follows, and I've actually, although Elizabeth and I've talked about this book, I actually wrote this review, and I've said what a pleasure to read. It's great to be able to hear from members of the judiciary what they think in the 21st century, especially on matters such as family law. And The Modern Judge, which is this book here, gives us a particularly powerful statement on what the public expect of their judges in the 21st century. And in the foreword, Sir James Mumby, who is currently the president of the family division, writes that, quote, some judges write memoirs, which is a rather dubious literary genre. But that's not the case here, thank goodness. And I'm grateful, because the book has got a great deal of importance. The author of this memoir is Sir Mark Headley, who informs us that as society becomes more complex, so does the law. He continues saying that the law cannot provide for every circumstance, and so its application often involves the exercise of discretion, and that's the theme, certainly. Criminal sentencing, child welfare, the protection of those who lack mental capacity, and disputes about medical treatment are other obvious examples, and these views succinctly set out his basic mission statement for the work. Also, it's for these reasons that we welcome this short memoir as both more interesting and more important than some of the books we've reviewed recently on what Mumby has called higher jurisprudence. Well, it's just a shorthand way of talking about that part of the syllabus for jurisprudence which looks at the role of the judge. Now, indeed, we need more books such as The Modern Judge to gain a better understanding of how judges judge in an era where they have a higher profile with the public. And Mumby goes on to say that Headley had a remarkable ability to distill legal concepts and fundamentally important principles in spare, non-legal and seemingly simple language, which actually is the hallmark, in my view certainly, as the good as well as the modern judge, because it's what we expect of them. And one of the problems we've had in the past is we haven't had that many books from the judiciary. And in fact, it's nice now to see many more of them coming along. So it's Headley's personal review here on how judges go about their tasks and how far they're influenced or affected by their backgrounds, beliefs and own life experiences, which remain highly topical since Britain's decision to withdraw from the European Union means that we're going to enter a new legal and political era. And I think certainly with the growth of the internet, it is much better to have more explanation about what the judges do, certainly for things like public legal education purposes. The book is very much a fascinating, humane and insightful account of how this judge has seen his role in recent years, and I think it's a great read for those who actually are forced to read jurisprudence at university, which actually many of us have rather enjoyed. I know it's a mixture of politics and philosophy as well, but the point is, which is made, is that many of the senior judges many decades ago actually remain very much part of the truism which Headley has brought out here, and which Mumby describes by saying that the reference to our fallible humanity is both striking and so very characteristic of Sir Mark's view of the human condition. And that's actually something that comes across in quite a few of the other judicial biographies that we've looked at. Not so much the memoirs, but the actual biographies of past judges. Many see some partial answers to pressing questions like, if consistency is an aspect of public justice, can that be achieved? And what is the conflict between public and personal privacy all about? And of course those are the sorts of questions he poses. So it is a book very much for one to ponder, I think, and think about and reflect on. So for a society where the judiciary have perhaps greater effective power than ever before, Headley's aim is to be frank rather than scholarly about judging, and he's exactly that throughout what is a most useful, short and easy to read essay, which I think is most insightful for those who follow the role of judging in the 21st century. And it's certainly a much wider audience that we're getting to today. Headley declares that a trial judge is in a very different position to the appellate judge. Absolutely right, for procedural reasons above anything else. A most important point, of course, in view of the continuing debate that seems to be raising by Lord Newburger and others on the role of the cross-examiner today, with the changing face of procedures as the online courts come into their own in about 2020. Now, Headley's approach is that the trial is where the facts are determined, and it is essentially a trial judge who exercises the powers of discretion which modern society increasingly vests in its judiciary. And that's certainly the case because of the changing role, or the perception of a changing role of the judiciary. And we firmly hope this position remains the case, notwithstanding the massive upheavals which are now underway, with both access to and the procedures for delivering justice in the immediate future. Let me conclude by saying we'll leave the final words with Sir Mark, with his opportunity for reflection here, with pressures on both individuals and the system which have increased in the last few years. It's the product of lifelong conversations with colleagues and the many diverse people he has met in his varied life, which has led actually to this book being produced. And we're most grateful to have these views, which open up the judiciary, I think, in a modern way to a new and different audience, something which we never had some years ago. So thank you very much, Mark. The publication date is cited at 2017. Just show you the book again. There's the front page, the old Scales of Justice, and there's a picture of the author there. You can just see there's quite a lot of blurb on the back. It's a very small book. He does, obviously the whole emphasis throughout is about family law, hence the fact it's a family law publication, LexisNexis and family law, and then there's a little thing about the ebook on the back. I thought this was a very important book. There's the forward again by Mumby. It's a very important book because we do need to get more idea of how people are making their decisions and the sort of people we've got who are actually running the judiciary and making these important decisions about, certainly in family law, about people's lives. So thank you very much once again to Jordans for undertaking this with Family Law imprint, and also to the author and everybody connected with the book. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.